Right, so here we are again, Demon's turn 2. He just got a bunch of charges on me. And a couple close-ups with it. So, you notice those flesh hounds are gone. God, I love that. And they came in, they didn't do great with their attacks, my armor saves, ward saves. They didn't do any wounds on me. Between my wounds on him, Banner out one rank, outnumber, a bad roll for his instability test, and poof, flesh hounds are gone. So real bad luck for the demons right there. Notice on the right hand side of the board, my men-at-arms have taken down a couple of those flamers, and again, because of all the massive combat res I don't know if I killed them turn 2 or if they went poof turn 3, but those flamers were not meant to be charged into combat alone into a big unit like that. You notice the demonettes put a beating on my Pegasus Knights. My guys lost one. They fled, and they're okay. They're on the board. They're just out of this picture. Those Knights Errant you see, they're not there. Those are dead and gone, and I just haven't put them off the board yet. The Flesh Hounds at the bottom right of the screen beat my Knights Errant and pursued them, chased them down, and that's where they're at. So, yeah, I actually turned out, I was very happy with what's happening on with my Grail Knights and with my men-at-arms. Very, very unhappy with my mistake with the Pegasus Knights and with the Knights Errant. So I was really hoping those Knights Errant would just kind of sit back and keep him from marching forward too much. But what you gonna do? Thought that was a cool little picture. So Brett's turn 3. Starting at the bottom, you can see my Pegasus Knights have rallied, but they're just sitting there. So I'm pretty sure his Flesh Hounds are going to charge me next turn. If they do, I know right now that I'm just going to flee with those guys, and so I took my reserve unit of Knights of the Realm, and I turned them and moved them as much as I could so that if he gets a failed charge, I have a chance of counterattacking, which I won't, but I think what will happen is he'll charge me, I flee, and the next turn, hopefully I rally, he can charge me again. He's just going to chase me off the board. Those Knights of the Realm aren't doing a whole lot in the middle because there's no room between the men-at-arms and the big unit of Knights Errant. So I don't have a whole lot else to do with them right now, so they're just turning around to help protect that flank. So you notice on the top of the screen I was able to take my Grail Knights and those Pegasus Knights and charge into that unit of Pink Horrors. And in hindsight, I'm not sure why I did it that way. It would have been much better to keep the Pegasus Knights out of it, take the Grail Knights and the Knights of the Realm into that battle. My guess is I didn't have room to do it or something like that. No, I remember now. I declared charges with all 3 because I've had such awful luck failing leadership tests that I figure odds were that either my Pegasus Knights or my Knights of the Realm would fail their fear test. And so I charged with all 3, and because I declared first my Pegasus Knights, I went ahead and took them in first. So anyway, that's what's going on there and the reasons behind it. You can see I reformed my archers, so I'm able to get a few shots in, but they're not really impacting the game very much. So when I saw this happening, I was thinking, oh, just kill enough of those guys, make them go poof, and get an overrun into his general. If I could overrun into his general with my Grail Knights, I would be just thrilled. And didn't happen. One combat, they went poof, a lot of them did, but there was still enough left that I know I'm going to win it, but it leaves his general free just to fly around the board. And one thing that happened earlier, you notice he's out of that ruined area. He moved in there the first turn. On my second turn, I tried to charge with my general, and we really just kind of got into a disagreement. He was saying I couldn't fly into that because you can't fly into houses. I'm not sure. I'm not saying he was wrong. We weren't clear on what that structure was. So we agreed that I couldn't fly into it, and I didn't have the range to charge into it. So he let me just call off the charge and just sit there, which was a decent little compromise. So, but knowing that I was going to be close enough to get some people in there, he took his general out. So move on to his turn 3. You notice we're still locked in combat with the Grail Knights. His Flesh Hounds on the right didn't. They did charge me. No, they didn't. My guys failed their leadership test, so they kept on flying towards the edge of the board. His Flesh Hounds are sitting there, so I'm leaving my reserve unit of Knights just sitting there. Now in the middle of the board, he took his General and his BSB, and between the two of them, both charged my BSB's unit. And I decided just to flee. I don't think they would have done well with getting that kind of charge in there. That his BSB guy has a banner that gives him D3 combat res, and so my chances of even winning through combat res aren't very high. So I figured I have a decent chance of rallying them next turn. Plus, at this point, we were given the ultimatum that we had to finish. The game, we were supposed to have a time limit of 2.5 hours. We were over 3.5 hours at this point because of his magic phases. And so I knew that he wasn't going to have another turn to continue charging my guys off the board. So decided I'd flee and just take my chances of rallying him next turn. And with that, his guys are just stuck out there, but they're stuck out there in a way that I can't get the charge on them, which is why I feel it was a mistake to take my Pegasus Knights into that battle, because that's what they're for, are to catch people out in the open and tie them up so I can get my general in there. So on my turn 4, I'm not charging anything because there's nothing I can charge with enough force to ensure that I win. So I take my men-at-arms and move them up just to contest the table quarter over there. I'm pretty sure I was okay with all my Grail Knights contesting it anyway, but I had nothing else to do with them. I wasn't going to declare any charges. Plus, I just sat there. And what's funny, too, is we thought it was turn 5, and we thought it was the bottom of the 5th. We both forgot that I went first, and not that it would have affected anything, we both forgot it was turn 4. I mean, it was just a grueling game. It was so long. And it was the second game of the tournament. We knew we had a third game coming up, and this game took 4 hours. Everybody else in the tournament's been sitting around for an hour waiting for us. So, yeah, we just called it at that. So it ended up being a solid victory for the Bretonnians. Killing the whole Pink Horror unit, including that Herald, helped. I got a unit of Flesh Hounds out too. For the most part, it was a bloodless game. I rallied everything, so the only thing I lost were the some skirmishing peasant bowmen and my small unit of Knights Errant. He lost a unit of Horrors, the Herald with the Horrors, a unit of Flesh Hounds, and that, with the table quarters I had and all that, ended up being a solid victory. So, kind of surprised. It felt very close. I think if it would have gone another couple turns, things would have been interesting. I mean, his BSB in general out there would have caused some problems. Who knows? But anyway, it was an interesting game, but got the victory, went on to the next match without a loss yet. So there we go with that game. It's kind of, I don't know, you can probably tell by my tone, I felt like it was kind of an ugly, poorly played game by me, but we're able to eke out a win, so I'll take it. Hope you enjoyed it.